I'm 76 years old. My name is Helen. I was a librarian for 34 years. I've been a widow for 8 years now. I don't have that much time left. Maybe 10 years if I'm lucky. Maybe 15 if I take care of myself. But either way, the clock is winding down, and there's something I need to tell you before I go. I spent 8 years after my husband died looking for love, dating, apps, coffee meetings, dinner dates at 70 years old like I was 30 again. Everyone told me it was the right thing to do. My kids, my friends, society. You're still young, Helen. You have years ahead. Find someone. Don't die alone. So I tried. God, I tried so hard. And I was wrong. They were wrong. All of it was wrong. I'm going to tell you exactly how I wasted 8 years of my life chasing something I didn't actually want, just because I was too scared to admit that maybe being alone isn't the same thing as being lonely. This is hard to admit. I've been thinking about it every single day for the past year. But if you're a widow or widower over 60 and someone is telling you to get back out there, please listen to what I'm about to say. George died in January 2016. Heart attack. Quick. He was 70. We'd been married for 42 years. The first 3 months were a blur. The funeral. The paperwork. People bringing casseroles, everyone crying, everyone hugging me and saying he's in a better place now. And then everyone left. And the house was silent. I'd wake up at 6:30 like always. But there was no George shuffling to the kitchen. No sound of him making coffee wrong, too strong the way he always did. No newspaper rustling. No morning Helen called from the living room, just silence. For 3 months I sat in that silence, and it felt like drowning. My daughter Emily came over one Saturday in April. She found me crying at the kitchen table for no reason, just crying. She hugged me and said, "Mom, you can't live like this. You need to get out, meet people. Dad would want you to be happy." And that's when it started. Dad would want you to be happy. Everyone said it. My son, my friends at book club, even my doctor. "Helen, you're only 68. You're healthy. You're sharp. You could have another 20 good years. Don't spend them alone." The message was clear. Being alone meant I'd given up. Being alone meant I was letting George's death kill me too. Being alone was failure. So I decided to find someone. At 68 years old, I joined a dating site for seniors. I need you to understand something. When I was young, you met people at church, or through friends, or at work. You didn't browse through photos of strangers like a catalog. You didn't write a profile describing yourself like you were applying for a job. But there I was, 68 years old, trying to pick a profile picture. Trying to describe myself in 150 characters. Retired librarian, loves reading and gardening, looking for companionship. It felt humiliating, but everyone said it was normal now. This is how people meet. This is how you find love in your 70s. So I did it, and for the next 8 years I played a game I didn't understand with rules that kept changing. The pattern started immediately and repeated for 8 years straight. Every week I'd get messages. "You seem nice. I like your smile. Want to meet for coffee?" And every time I'd feel this surge of hope. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the one who'll make the silence go away. We'd meet at a coffee shop. Always coffee shops. Neutral ground, safe. And I'd sit there at 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 73, 74, 75 years old, trying to be interesting, trying to be funny, trying to be the version of myself that someone would want. The conversation always followed the same script. So tell me about yourself. Well, I was married for 42 years. My husband passed in 2016. I'm sorry I lost my wife too. 3 years ago. Cancer. And then we'd spend an hour talking about our dead spouses, comparing losses, comparing memories. And then we'd say goodbye and I'd go home and analyze every word I'd said. Did I talk about George too much? Not enough? Was I interesting? Was I boring? Will he call again? 3 days of anxiety for 1 hour of awkward coffee. Let me tell you about Richard. I met him in September 2017. I was 69. He was 72. Widower, retired teacher, gentle smile, kind eyes. We went on 6 months of dates, movies, dinners, walks in the park. And he was nice. Really, he was. He held doors. He paid for meals. He laughed at my jokes. But every time he laughed, it wasn't George's laugh. Every time he told a story, it wasn't George's way of telling stories. When we watched TV together, he wanted the sound too loud. George liked it low. When we went to dinner, he ordered wine. George always ordered water. When he kissed me goodnight, it felt like kissing a stranger. Because he was, I kept waiting to feel what I felt with George. That ease, that comfort, that sense of home. It never came. After 6 months, I ended it. I told him I wasn't ready. But that wasn't true. The truth was he wasn't George. And I couldn't stop comparing every single thing he did to a man who'd been dead for 2 years. Then there was Paul. I was 71. He was 69. Sweet man, boring as dry toast. We'd meet for lunch twice a week. He'd talk about his grandkids, his golf game, his doctor appointments. And I'd sit there nodding, smiling, thinking, I could be home reading right now. I could be in my garden. I could be doing anything except pretending to care about his golf handicap. But I kept seeing him because everyone said I should give it time. Takes a while to adjust to someone new. You can't expect lightning to strike twice. So I gave it time. 6 months, 8 months, a year. And one day he reached across the table and held my hand and said, Helen, I think I'm falling in love with you. And I felt nothing, not happiness, not fear, nothing. I broke up with him the next week. He cried. He said, Did I do something wrong? And I said, No, you're wonderful. I'm just not ready. But that wasn't true either. The truth was, I didn't want him. I didn't want anyone who wasn't George. At 73, I met Stephen. He was different, energetic. He wanted to travel, see the world. We've got good years left, Helen. Let's use them. And part of me thought, yes, maybe this is what I need. Adventure, new experiences. So we planned a trip to Italy, 2 weeks, Rome, Florence, Venice. And I spent those 2 weeks exhausted, walking when I wanted to rest, eating in restaurants when I wanted to cook at home, smiling for photos when I wanted to be invisible. He loved it. Isn't this amazing, he'd say. And I'd say, yes, amazing. But inside I was counting the days until I could go home, to my house, my chair, my routine. 1 week got back, he wanted to plan another trip. Greece, Spain, Ireland. And I said, I need a break. He said, a break from what? We're living. And I realized his version of living felt like dying to me. We broke up 3 months later. By 75, the pattern was clear. But I couldn't stop. Meet someone. Coffee. Hope. Dates. Realize it's not right. Feel guilty. End it. Feel like a failure. Try again. Again and again and again. Each first date cost me 3 days of anxiety. Picking an outfit. Doing my hair. Worrying if I looked old. If I looked tired. If I looked desperate. Each relationship cost me months of pretending. Pretending to like his hobbies. Pretending to enjoy his friends. Pretending I was happy when really I was just acting. And every time one ended, I'd think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I make this work? Other widows find love again. Why can't I? My kids kept encouraging me. Mom, you just haven't found the right one yet. My friends kept saying, don't give up, he's out there. The dating site sent me daily matches. These men want to meet you. And I kept trying. Because stopping felt like admitting defeat. Stopping felt like saying, I'm going to die alone. And that was the worst thing you could be. Alone. Then came March 2024. I was 76. I'd just come back from another disappointing coffee date. This one talked about his ex-wife the entire time. How she'd wronged him. How she'd taken everything. How he'd never trust women again. And I sat there thinking, why am I here? Why am I listening to this stranger's baggage when I have my own grief I'm still carrying? I drove home, walked through my front door, into my kitchen, and I made tea, exactly how I like it. 1 sugar, no milk, steeped for exactly 4 minutes. I sat in my chair, the one George used to sit in, the one I'd avoided for 8 years because it hurt too much. I looked out at my garden, the tomatoes I'd planted in April, the roses I'd pruned in February, the bird feeder I'd hung last fall, all of it done by me, for me. No compromise, no negotiation. And I felt something I hadn't felt in 8 years. Peace, not happiness, not joy, just peace. There was no one to impress, no one to please, no performance required, just me, in my house, drinking my tea, looking at my garden. And I started crying, not sad crying, relief crying, because I realized I'd spent 8 years running from something that wasn't actually the enemy. If you're doing this right now, please hear me. Society tells you that being alone after 60 is tragic, that widowhood is something to escape, that finding new love is proof you're still alive, still valuable, still worth something. And if you don't find someone, if you stop trying, you've given up. You've let life defeat you. That's a lie. Here's what no one tells you after a long marriage, after decades with one person, after building a whole life around someone else's habits and preferences and rhythms. Being alone isn't failure, it's freedom. And freedom after 60 looks different than it did at 20. At 20, freedom meant possibilities, options, the world wide open. At 76, freedom means peace, quiet, not having to negotiate every decision. It means eating dinner at 4:30 if I want, or 900, Or not at all. It means watching my shows without someone sighing. It means going to bed when I'm tired, not when someone else is tired. It means not performing, not pretending, not managing someone else's emotions while I'm still processing my own grief. I did this with dating, but I see this pattern everywhere now. I see it in my friend Martha, 72, who's been on dating apps for 5 years. She's exhausted, but she keeps trying because her daughters keep saying, "Mom, don't give up." I see it in my neighbor Robert, 81, who remarried 2 years ago and looks miserable. His new wife rearranged his whole house, changed his routines. He told me last week I should be grateful. Everyone says I'm lucky I'm not alone, but his eyes said something different. I see it in my son's face when I tell him I'm done dating. That look of concern, of pity. "Mom, are you sure? Are you okay?" As if being alone means I'm broken. Society tells you to hustle even at 76. Find someone. Stay relevant. Don't become invisible. But here's what I learned. Invisible isn't the same as worthless. Alone isn't the same as lonely. And after a certain age, after a certain amount of life lived, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop performing and just be. Let me tell you what those 8 years cost me. I missed my grandson's soccer games because I had dates scheduled. I said no to book club trips because I was trying to be available for men who might call. I spent Saturday nights at restaurants making small talk when I could have been home reading the books I never got to. I spent Sunday mornings getting ready for brunch dates when I could have been in my garden, in my pajamas, drinking coffee at my own pace. I spent 8 years measuring my worth by whether someone else wanted me. And in those 8 years, I forgot something crucial. I wanted me. I liked my company. I liked my routines. I liked my life. But I had been told that wasn't enough. That a life alone was a life wasted. So I wasted 8 years trying to be enough for someone else, when I'd been enough for myself all along. Here's what I wish I'd known at 68. What I wish someone had told me in those first dark months after George died. Number 1, grief has no timeline and no solution. Everyone will tell you that time heals, that you need to move on, that staying sad means you're stuck. But grief isn't a problem to solve. It's a weight you learn to carry. And sometimes learning to carry it alone is better than asking someone else to help hold it, because no one can hold your grief the right way. They'll shift it, drop it, misunderstand it. After 60, after loss, you know yourself. You know your pain. Don't outsource it to someone who doesn't understand. Number 2, stop accepting dates out of politeness. How many coffee meetings did I go to because someone seemed nice? Because saying no felt mean? Dozens, maybe 100. Every single one was a waste. Of my time, of their time, of the energy I could have spent on things I actually cared about. Starting today, if you don't want to go, don't go. Your time is finite now. You feel it in your bones. Stop spending it on obligation. Number 3, notice when you're changing yourself to fit someone else. This is the trap. You meet someone and they like hiking, so suddenly you're pretending to like hiking. They prefer eating out, so you stop cooking. They want to travel, so you book trips you don't want to take. And bit by bit, you shrink yourself to fit into someone else's life. At 76, I finally asked myself why. Why am I trying to fit? Why can't someone fit into my life for once? The answer was because I didn't think my life was enough. But it was. It is. Number 4, being alone is not the same as dying alone. This is the fear they use to keep you searching. You don't want to die alone, do you? But here's the truth. Even if you remarry tomorrow, you might still die alone. People leave. They get sick first. They go before you do. There is no guarantee against loneliness. No person who can promise to be there at the very end. So stop making decisions based on fear of your final moment. That moment will come regardless. Make decisions based on your daily moments, your morning coffee, your afternoon garden time, your evening reading hour. Those moments are your life, not the last one. Number 5, your kids' discomfort with your solitude is not your problem to solve. My children mean well. They want me happy, but their idea of happy is me paired up, coupled, not alone. They don't understand that I'm not alone. I'm with myself. And after 8 years of performing for strangers, I finally like the company. If your kids are pushing you to date, it's okay to say, I know you're worried, but I'm okay. Really okay. This is what I want. You don't owe them a partner to prove you're fine. Number 6, solitude at 76 looks different than loneliness at 30. At 30, being single felt like missing out. Like everyone else was moving forward and I was stuck. At 76, being single feels like arriving, like I've done the partnership thing. I've done the compromise and the negotiation and the constant awareness of another person's needs. And now I get to just be. No one waiting for dinner. No one needing attention. No one judging how I spend my time. This isn't loneliness, this is liberation. Number 7, say yes to yourself. For 8 years, I said yes to dates I didn't want, relationships I didn't feel, activities I didn't enjoy, all because I thought saying no meant giving up. But saying no to things you don't want is how you say yes to yourself. Starting today, say yes to the things that actually bring you joy. Reading in bed all day, skipping social events, eating cereal for dinner, watching TV in your pajamas at 6 p.m. These aren't signs of decline. They're signs of self-knowledge. Number 8, you don't need to fill every silence. The silence after George died felt like drowning, so I filled it with dates, with noise, with anything that made the quiet go away. But now I've learned silence is just space, and space is where you remember who you are. Sit in the silence. Let it be. You'll be surprised what you find there. George died 8 years ago, and I spent those 8 years trying to replace him, not consciously. I didn't wake up thinking I need to find another George, but that's what I was doing. Looking for someone who laughed like him, told stories like him, made me feel like him. And of course I never found it, because George was George, and he's gone. At his funeral, my daughter said in her eulogy, Dad was one of a kind. We'll never meet anyone like him again. And she was right. I never will. So why did I spend 8 years trying? Last month, I was cleaning out the garage, and I found a box of George's things. Cards, notes, random scraps of paper. One was from 2009, a birthday card he'd given me. The printed message said, to my wife on her birthday. And underneath, in his handwriting, you're the only person I want to be alone with. I sat on the garage floor and cried because I finally understood what he meant. Being with George wasn't about never being alone. It was about being alone together. Two people, comfortable in the quiet. And that's not something you find on a dating app. That's not something you build in 6 months of coffee dates. That's 42 years of learning each other, of wearing into each other like stones in a river. And I will never have that again. Not at 76. Not with 10 or 15 years left. So why keep pretending? My kids visit on Sundays. We have dinner. We talk. They leave. They're kind. They're good children. But I know they worry. Last Sunday, Emily said, "Mom, we just want you to be happy." And I said, "I am happy." She didn't believe me. I could see it in her face. Because to her, happiness looks like companionship, like someone calling me honey, like not eating dinner alone. But I eat dinner alone now, and I'm not lonely. I'm just here, in my kitchen, eating my food, at my pace. And when I'm done, I wash my one plate, my one cup, my one fork, and I don't have to negotiate anything. That's not sadness, that's peace. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I've given up. That I'm rationalizing loneliness because I couldn't make it work. Maybe you're right. But maybe, just maybe, giving up on the wrong thing is the right choice. Maybe at 76, after 42 years of marriage, after 8 years of trying, I finally know what I want. And what I want is my own chair, my own routine, my own silence. I don't need someone to say good morning to anymore. I say it to myself. I don't need someone to hold my hand watching TV. I hold my own. I don't need someone to tell me I'm enough. I know I'm enough. If you're a widow or widower over 60 and everyone is telling you to get back out there, I need you to hear this. You don't have to. You're not giving up. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're just done. And that's okay. If you want to date. You find someone who adds to your life instead of complicating it. Wonderful. But if you don't, if you try it and realize you'd rather be alone, stop. Please stop. Stop performing. Stop pretending. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's life at 70, 75, 80 years old. You've earned the right to live exactly how you want, in your own house, on your own schedule, with no one to answer to. That's not loneliness, that's freedom. And freedom at this age is everything. I'm 76 years old. I live alone. I will probably die alone. And I'm finally okay with that. The silence doesn't scare me anymore. It holds me. My empty house isn't empty. It's full of my books, my garden, my routine, my peace. I don't have anyone to say good morning to, but I have myself. And after 8 years of looking for someone else to make me whole, I finally realized I was already whole. I just needed to stop running long enough to notice they're still out there on the apps, at the coffee shops, at the senior centers, men and women in their 70s and 80s, still looking, still hoping, still believing the lie that alone means lost. If you're one of them and you're happy, keep going. But if you're one of them and you're exhausted and you're only doing it because everyone says you should stop, come home to yourself. You're already there. You always were.